Doc and Queenie Facebook Live. Good afternoon, Queenie.
Good afternoon, Doc. Welcome to High Noon.
Yes, I'm back. And thank you for all of the teaching that I heard about you doing for the past month.
Absolutely. It's been so much fun for people to reach out and say, I never knew that. And yeah, it's been actually terrific. So, and we are thrilled to have you. Looks like it's Christmas at your house. Woza.
We are in Christmas season. You know, it is,
as they say, 'tis the season, right?
'Tis the season of joy. And then I get the extra added bonus of it's my birthday month. So I haven't really started the monthly celebration yet because I've been a little bit busy, but you know, I think maybe I'll start it tomorrow and milk
Yeah,
it for all it's worth.
if it's your birthday month, I know you're going to milk that forever.
Yeah, I'll tell the kids I need you to do this, and they'll be like, oh, because it's my birthday.
Seriously.
Like, it's not happening, Mom. Well, it's my birthday month. I love that picture behind you. Where is that?
Thank you so much. I think this is British Columbia, Canada. So one of my friends posted it and I went, OMG, this looks amazing.
Gorgeous.
So yeah,
Gorgeous,
Canada
gorgeous.
definitely is doing it right. That's for sure.
They've got a little bit of what we have here in Kansas City, the plaza lights, you know, outline everything in lights thing going on there.
Yes, right. And that's as soon as I saw it, I thought, how did they take the plaza lights? So then I went, here's our plaza lights. So
yeah. Yes. And if anybody has never been to Kansas City, you have to come. It's great. And the plaza is just, it's a blast.
Absolutely. And it's so much fun, honestly. Again, the reason I love Christmas so much, one of the reasons is because it's not a day, it's a season. And that's the part that everybody's festive and fun and getting ready for this and doing something for that. And certainly the prep stuff, I get that, but it really is a 'tis the season thing. And I have something that I get to celebrate extra this year with Christmas, Doc.
Oh my gosh, you've got one of those too? Wait a minute.
I know. I had to find out how to get me plus the screen in there. So
yeah,
these fabulous dynamic t-shirts are so amazing and so fun.
It's our brand wear.
Yeah, our brand wear. Yeah. We're going to have a line of clothing and hats and all kinds of fabulous stuff for Doc and Queenie. So
of course, I'm going to put you on the spot. What are you drinking from today there, Queenie?
Absolutely. Never put me on the spot because this goes with me everywhere, from Canada to India to Germany to Lebanon and everything in between. So yeah, everybody always says, Kati, you always drink so much coffee. Yep, I do.
It's only what, 32 ounces of liquid gold.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, when you start your day at 7:30 a.m. camera ready, it's like, okay, unfunny, I need
coffee. Yeah. Well, and as you probably could figure, mine is water. So
absolutely, that's good. Mine will be water at 1:15, I believe, is the next time I get to take a break. So yeah, I've got everything strategically planned. Yeah, these shirts are so fabulous, honestly, and to be able to have Doc and Queenie, our very own line, is pretty fabulous too.
And it sparkles. I wish we could show the sparklies.
I know, that's what I mean. And then, but honestly, turtlenecks and t-shirts underneath it is so great, so you can wear it year round, which is extra fun. So thank you 1,000,000%. I love mine.
Well, and thank you to Karen Rejas for what she did with the design. I mean, it's
oh my gosh, absolutely. And that's honestly, plus the other good news is unexpected is just extra fun, I guess. But as soon as Karen, with the Doc and Queenie that I had attempted just my little archaic kind of design, and Karen comes up with this, and I went, wowza, sister. And so then you took it one step further and made the black white so that you could put it places, including these dynamic tumblers. So that's why I say you take a logo and a design and it just catches, and I love that.
It's totally fun.
So Doc,
hey, yes,
I have one thing since you mentioned Karen.
Yes.
Karen is such a dynamic, faithful friend on purpose and super duper fun. And 'tis the season, as we said. It's almost Doc's birthday, which means hello, December 14th. And we are in the month, last month of the year. We talked about that a little bit as far as what are your goals? What are some of the things you're going to accomplish before 2022 gets here? So that means we get to talk about our word for 2022.
Oh, how nice.
And yeah, so Karen has offered to put postcards in the mailbox for anyone who sends her their word for 2022. So it's super awesome. I am thrilled beyond measure. Karen has been not only such a faithful friend on purpose, but I've actually known her for years networking. If you haven't met her yet in the Kansas City market and beyond, it's time. She's part of the ACA Business Club. And she is either there all the time or certainly promoting it social media wise. So do connect with Karen Higgins Reyes and do take a look at some of the awesome things that she does. And Doc, I don't know if you have any, but her magnitude jewelry is also phenomenal. And
I do.
Yes, and that's why I say Karen is just a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information, and she does have a heart of gold.
Yes, and this is a great segue with her jewelry. I have one of her pieces, which is great. It repels EMFs, which is fantastic. We get EMFs all over the place. And I'm going to segue that into, do you know what national day it is today, Queenie?
National Karen Higgins Day?
Besides that.
Okay. Okay.
It's National Microwave Day.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even send anybody
Speaking
a
of
card.
EMFs.
Yeah. Speaking of yikes, yeah.
Yes. So, I make sure I have my necklace on when I'm walking around the microwave. We don't realize, and the only reason this sticks out to me, other than I do teach it in my business, but I was at a business a couple of years ago, and my boss bought, and I'm calling it a Geiger counter. It was a measuring tool for EMFs, basically.
Oh.
And we put it by the microwave, turn on the microwave, and it was unbelievable. The pin went into the red danger zone. And so we took this tool and we backed it up, and this was in the little kitchen. The EMFs were safe when we were behind the wall of the kitchen. Anywhere in the kitchen, it was all over the place. So, shout out for jewelry that repels stuff, because we are in an environment, everything is Bluetooth and wireless.
As soon as you said that, I'm looking at this office going, I don't want her in here because I think I've got EMF stuff like this, that.
I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, that's, 5G, 4G, 3G, whatever. I mean, it's all over the place. But shout out for that jewelry. But, and it kind of ties into National Microwave Day.
Well, now, Doc, I appreciate you sharing that because I had no idea
that it was National Microwave Day. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's also National St. Nicholas Day. And it's also, and I don't have pictures of any of these others, but it's also St. Nicholas Day, and it's also Gazpacho Day. I'm tripping over my pronunciation.
Which gazpacho is Italian soup or something?
It's actually, I think it's Hispanic. I don't know. I am not a big fan of cold soup. So that's basically why, and we never really did it Italian wise. So,
it's Hispanic. I didn't know that. Okay.
I'm thinking it is, but maybe one of our faithful friends can help us.
The reason I thought that it was Italian, I thought Jasper makes that.
It might, I don't know.
I don't know that one either. Vichyssoise is cold potato soup. And so I've always thought, why would you take something fantastic like hot, comfort, fabulous potato soup and cold it? I just never have figured that one out. So that's never been one of my things. I didn't realize gazpacho was cold.
And I always think of a tomato-based soup with that. And I'm like, if it's going to be a cold soup, why not just do salsa?
Okay, I like the way you think. Yeah. Okay.
But
a few pounds of chips, I think we can do that.
yeah, really. So, but St. Nicholas Day, it's also St. Nicholas Day, like I said, and that is a kind of a cool connect to our Christmas, because in other countries, traditionally, St. Nicholas Day, it's you leave a small gift in either a shoe or a sock. Gee, how does that, tie into our little traditions here in the States? So shout out to St. Nicholas Day and cold soup and microwaves.
Wow. Yeah. And microwaves. I love that right off the bat for sure. And think about what you just said, traditions. Everyone has something different that every year, no matter what they do at Christmas time. And those are always so much fun. Some people decorate Christmas trees. Some people hang stockings on the hearth. Some people use the K room for something. And so it's always
Yeah,
amazing. I can't figure that one out yet, but I'll get there maybe some year. And it's always fun to see other people's traditions. And Karen and I are texting back and forth most evenings as far as, did you see that? And we take screenshots of the current Hallmark movie, and definitely some of our favorites.
That's a tradition for you, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. October 22nd, but who's counting? And as soon as Hallmark kicks in, I'm ready to roll. And so the reason I do that is because it actually gets me in the spirit to get my house decorated, which is a production. And it's not just let's do that this afternoon. No, let's do that this month. And so, yeah, that the Christmas movies get me in the spirit.
I was actually reminiscing with my children over the weekend because this year I decided that they would be the ones to put up the Christmas tree.
Ooh, wow.
Totally, other than the star on top. Because that's actually Swarovski, and I'm incredibly protective of that falling off the tree. But we have a few traditions that we do at Christmas time. One is we have a Christmas nail that represents, the Christmas tree represents, of course, we're celebrating the birth of Jesus, but the nail represents sacrifice, that, he grew up, he is the savior. And each year a different kid will hang the nail, and that's the first thing we do, as close to the trunk on the inside, kind of hide it. We know it as a family, we know what it represents for that Christmas tree and for our Christmas season. But that's one tradition we do. And then we were reminiscing, we have an artificial tree, we've had it for a couple of years, but our tradition up until like maybe 3 or 4 years ago was go to the tree farm, have mom take probably an hour to pick out the perfect Christmas tree, because you see it and you're like, ooh, and then you look down and make sure the trunk is straight, because we learned pretty quick in our early days of real Christmas trees, you need a straight trunk. And then I would make the kids wear the Christmas hat. We take a picture, and I guess that was torturous. And then dad would get on his stomach, whether it was snow, mud, water, and saw the Christmas tree, saw the Christmas tree. And of course, the easy part was wave the flag and they come and get it. But
I was going to say Chevy Chase lives, huh?
Yeah. So that was our tradition. And I realized, and I think I was telling you this the other day, my mom, when she was alive, would always send us like 3, 4, 5 ornaments every Christmas. And so wow. I have hundreds of ornaments, which was never a problem with a real Christmas tree because it was big and round and full. We bought a smaller artificial tree, and I'm like, we can only put a third up. And of course, I don't keep track. I don't know if you would, if you were in my situation, Queenie, if you would keep track of what went up last year, but I just have a few that I make sure they're on the tree every year. But yeah, so I have the kids pick the ornaments and get them on the tree. But those are a few of our little traditions.
So
yes.
Do you put ornaments on the back of the tree?
No.
Okay.
No, because who's going to stand behind the tree?
Well, possibly no one except hello. And so I don't load the back because mine's kind of in a big corner. And so I don't need necessarily ornaments on the back of the tree, but I actually have done that. I make sure that no matter where you're sitting, where the tree is, that you will be able to see massive amounts of ornaments. So yeah.
So the ornaments that go on the back of the tree, do you have favorites in ornaments? And if you did, would the favorites stay in the front and then the non-favorites in the back?
Well, the answer to that question is I don't have any that aren't favorites, because otherwise those would have been gone by now. So I actually don't have any that aren't favorites. Everything has a specific memory, or I remember when or where I got it. I remember from whom,
Wow.
I remember why. So yeah, I don't have any that aren't favorites.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And so that's why I was talking about tradition. Everyone has something different that they do. Some people have live trees, some people have permanent, and it just totally depends on the household maybe. Well, just like you said, that nail part is amazing. Does the same kid put it on and take it off for that year?
Well, yes, I thought I was jumping ahead. Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you do oldest to youngest so that everybody gets a turn every year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So whose turn was it this year?
It was Kyle, my oldest.
Your oldest. Ah, so he was probably loving that piece.
Yes, he was. He loves to decorate the tree, and we got it up late this year. Usually we do it the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But it was late, and so he was itching to get that tree decorated.
Well, and see what happens October 22nd for Hallmark, but who's counting? But then when you go into the stores, honestly, I have seen pumpkins next to snowmen. And even for me, as much as I love Christmas, that makes my head explode because I'm going, I have to kind of have an end and a begin kind of thing. So now you've got pumpkins, turkeys, and snowmen all on the same shelf. And I'm kind of going, okay, we've got to get this sorted out because I can't handle mess.
So another question while we're talking questions, are you finished with your Christmas shopping?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am. Yeah.
Cool.
That has gone very smoothly, beautifully this year. As the grandkids are getting older, quite frankly, most of their gifts will either be cash or cash related because they have, what do you call it? Electronic something that money feeds into it magically. And it comes from the bank because that's the money store and the law.
That's where the money is. Yes.
Yeah. The money comes from the bank. And so
it just appears.
Yeah, it's just magic. And so, yeah, that's easy. And of course, the big kids need absolutely less than zero. So, yeah, if any of them are listening, that'd be a good time to tell them you're not getting anything this year. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah. But honestly, the shopping piece for me kind of goes on all year.
Yeah. Yeah. I usually start about beginning of October. But I kind of announced my kids are old enough now and everybody's working that, it'll be very limited this year. And we do gifts, but that's not our focus.
Right.
It's, it's family together, and Jesus is the reason for the season. So.
And plus, seriously, for most of our homes and households anyway, and families, look around. Explain to me something they need. And I realize Christmas is a time for something you want, not necessarily need, but I don't think in our families, our circles like that, it's not like there's a need. And so that's always the thing for me that, working in a soup kitchen with someone on Christmas or Thanksgiving, a lot of people actually do that now, shelters and places that actually need volunteers. Those pieces for me are super duper fun to do as a family. And a lot of people have embraced that tradition as well. And especially with the pandemic stuff, people have reached out in bigger ways this year. And I think that has been very fun to see. A lot of people have posted, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, that kind of stuff. And it really has been very fun to see people's creativity in this season where sometimes people are still thinking about limits and how many people in a house and all that stuff. And then they realize that maybe they could give instead of get. So there's a lot of different things going on traditionally now. Changing traditions. I mean, that's a tradition in itself.
Right. Right. Well, and since I basically was gone, for a month, I had a lot of time to think about just, life in general. And I think I said to you several weeks ago, everybody kicks up the giving and the thankful and the this. And, wouldn't it be great if we could keep this going throughout the entire year? I mean,
Yeah. And that's why I say I love it that it's a season instead of a day. Right. And if that part of the giving and the helping and the reaching out would continue to be part of our theme. You know, what are you grateful for today? Well, today I'm grateful for, and obviously it's family, career, faith, all of those things. Absolutely. But it's back to the rest of the story. I'm grateful for this weather.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's
I'm
see. What is
afraid
it
to
today?
say it out loud, but
It's not snowing and
correct.
it's above 30.
Absolutely. And that's why I've been looking forward, of course, every 10 days, I keep doing another forward thing. And I'm looking at this going, I mentioned this in one of my meetings earlier this morning, and that's what the gentleman that was running the show said, what are you so grateful for today? And I said, well, Kansas City traditionally does not have this type of weather at this time. And so I said, we are still 50s, 60s on some of the days coming up, and certainly on some of the days past, and I'll take it.
Yep. Well, I was actually just going through some of my stored pictures, and right around this time last year, we had a heavy, wet snowstorm. And, you know, I'm like looking at pictures of my dog running around in the snow at the beginning of December, and I'm like, thank you.
Yes, I know. And some people, of course, are chomping at the bit. And I was with a lady this morning in Minnesota. So if you are interested in SNOW, please go up and see Gloria. She's amazing.
They are getting, yes. Yes.
She's super fun. She loves it, and she's in Minnesota. So go visit Gloria if you need a place to be to see that stuff.
And I always have this request every year with, and we're from Chicago, so we know snow and cold and wind, and we didn't know anything differently until we moved here. And then we're like, oh my gosh, there are flowers and it's only March. Yeah. And oh my gosh, it's warm and it's still October. But oh my gosh, look at all the ice. We'll take snow, but I always have this request, you know, I will take snow Christmas Eve, and it has to be gone by New Year's Day.
And how's that request working out for you?
There was one year where we got 12 inches of snow on Christmas Eve. It was great. Unfortunately, it didn't melt as fast, but yeah, because it's like I'm like, you know, you get. I've grew up growing in snow, don't mind it, and there's a tradition I have to share that my children kind of will ask me on when it snows. If you live on my street, you'll see this crazy lady in her car trying to get it to slide, because it's always my car, it's front wheel drive. My car, you can sneeze and I will spin out, unfortunately, because it's very light. I get great gas mileage in the summer. It's horrible in the winter. But I do that going down the street. I will go down the street and slam on my brakes to get used to that feel, so I remember what to do when the car starts spinning out. You know, if you hit black ice or whatever, because how many times have we, you know, we're just innocently driving down the street, not speeding or anything, Queenie.
Uh-huh.
And the car, well, my car, I'm totally serious. Like, I've just made a turn, a slow turn. You know, when they sort of plow and it's still kind of snowy, and I've made a turn and spun out, and I'm just making a turn. I mean, that's how bad my car is. So but my kids are always like, when are we going to do the, and I'm sure the neighbors are like, oh, there she goes again. But I'm like, I just like to be prepared, I guess. No comment? None. Everybody, I think I finally figured out how I can just silence the queen.
It is not my gift. And I look outside, here come the flakes, goodbye. So
yeah, I'm staying home.
Hibernation begins. It is not my favorite at all. I've never actually liked driving in it. Now, snow, obviously I don't mind, but when it does the ice stuff, I'm out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times we have to drive, so we have no choice, but yeah.
And especially now, hello, my world is virtual, and it has been so spectacular to be able to not have to deal with all the traffic and all the stuff. A few times when I've been out, I'm headed somewhere at 4:30 in the evening, good idea. I'm headed home at 6:30 from somewhere, double good idea. And so I look at that and I go, I really don't miss this.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, and I probably have said to people, growing up in a bigger city, well, and right before we left to move here, I'd sit an hour and a half in traffic and move like half a mile.
Absolutely.
It would take me 2 hours to get home, and it was 10 miles, I mean, crazy.
And that does seem a little nuts to me, of course, at this point. Plus for me, I can cover so much ground pushing buttons on this thing.
Yeah, and you're all over the world these days, aren't you?
Yeah, and it really has been seriously fun. My network has expanded. My friend base is amazing. My colleagues are now everywhere. It really has been terrific. And I think it has been, if not for the pandemic, we've done that before. And certainly the travesty of people being sick, and some people have lost their lives, and friendships have severed because of all the drama stuff, but it's back to the same drill. We're anointed and appointed for a time such as this. So we're actually here for a reason. And so it's like the punt and pivot piece that we have talked about. Sometimes there's a shift, and when there's a shift, it needs to be embraced. And so I think a lot of our faithful friends on purpose actually have embraced it too.
Yeah. I mean, and that ties back to my thoughts while I've been gone. Life is too short. Life is too short.
And so many of your clients I know also are virtual, and especially, and I wanted to give a shout out to you actually, Doc. Your newsletter on your website is seriously phenomenal. I know sometimes you talk about the K room and different cooking situations, and I appreciate that certainly, but the other things I do, the other things that you have talked about though, food combinations and different things like that, as far as this herb goes with that something, that really has been actually very helpful for me.
Oh, well, good. Good. No, I love to write about gardening. I love to write about cooking, and health, as we all know. So, but yeah, it's, I love doing the newsletters and all of that stuff. I'm having a blast.
Plus they're actually eclectic. They really are. They're eclectic. I mean, I can just kind of see neon lights shining on a billboard with some of the things that you post, and it really has been awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so, and that while you are traveling the world, because I always say, hey, where have you been? Well, I was in India and then Japan. And
then I stopped by Canada for a little while. And I decided to come back to San Francisco. So I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it has been honestly so much fun.
I was going to say, speaking of the world, I had heard the other day that Hawaii was supposed to get snow this past weekend. I haven't checked to see if they got what they were expecting. I mean, they were saying like a foot of snow, and not in the mountainous part, like further down. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like how crazy is that?
Well, the good news is, honestly, it doesn't last long. And one of the gentlemen did a comparative picture. He faces a dynamic mountain volcano area, and he did it like on a gorgeous day, and then he did it with the snow. I don't know if it was current snow that like this weekend, but he did the comparison of the exact same shot, like out of his office. And it was dramatic, absolutely. But once again, with that climate, it lasts such a short time.
Yeah. So,
and I always think of the kids, how much fun are they having? If it's going to snow, how cool is that? The parents are probably going, oh my gosh. But yeah, can you imagine a snowman in front of a palm tree?
Hey, why not? Yeah, no, when you say the kids, I start my Christmas music October 31st, which my children love also.
Oh, I bet they do. I bet they do.
And there's that one song, can't wait for the kids to go back to school. It's the first day of vacation. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember those days. Like, stop fighting. It's, day 2. We have 2 weeks here.
Yes. Yeah. And that's another thing. Imagine what that looks like for the parents that have so many kids at home. By the, here's Christmas, and oh my gosh, and all of that. It's just funny, but the kids love the break. And sometimes the parents have things to do within that 2-week span. And so everyone has different traditions. So for all of you joining us today, please put in the comments under this video, what are some of your traditions that are every year, no matter what?
We'd love to hear it. I mean, it's always cool to hear what other people do.
Absolutely. No matter just something that happens every year, no matter what. You put up a tree, you put up stockings, you do outside lights, whatever that looks like, put that in there, and something that you must eat every single Christmas at time, the season, something that must be on your table. And I know at Thanksgiving, a lot of people did the cranberries or no cranberries, turkey or ham. And for all the vegans and pescatarians and different people that are in my family, I look at that and I go, well, we don't have to have that. So that's check, not have to cook that. So anything that is a not have to cook, I'm all over it.
So Queenie.
Uh-oh. When you say it like that, I know we're in big trouble.
What has to be on your table at Christmas that you will eat? Or I'll open it up that your kids, I guess, demand to eat or have as part of your.
Well, I guess you would say that my kids would demand might be mashed potatoes and gravy. So that part's okay. They request / like monkey bread, and I don't mind that. But for me, a have to every season is sweet potatoes.
Okay. Very
And
cool.
that's just a have to. I don't care if they're just mashed. I don't care if they're baked. I don't care if it's a casserole kind of thing. Sweet potatoes has to happen every season. I eat them all year, actually. But that's one of the things that sweet potatoes kind of go with Christmas for me.
And how are they prepared? Are they just basically like mashed up sweet potatoes, or do you put all that? And I know how much you love sweet. You put all the marshmallow, maple syrup, pecan all over it.
Sometimes, and that has depended. I gave up the marshmallow thing years ago because that finally did get to be too much. I like the look of it, I will say. When you burn the marshmallows on top, which I do intentionally, I love that whole crispy looking look. Actually,
Christine crisp, as we call it.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, mine is intentional. My family has learned over the years that when the smoke alarm goes off, dinner's ready. And so that's always the big ho 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 kind of thing. Well, I'm trying to put out the fire in the kitchen and they're laughing. So yeah. The other
Great
thing
support there. Yeah.
Yeah. I then adopted, I can't actually remember whose recipe it was. I really can't remember, but someone did the brown sugar pecan butter thing to burn on top for the crispy stuff. And that's fine. I can't obviously handle too much of it because sweets are actually not my deal. But when you have everything all steamy from the oven, I do like that. And plus it's an extra excuse to heat the house. I know you've got massive amounts of foods that are have tos in your family.
Well, yeah. And they're of course not healthy. Many years ago owned a baking business, and my children still ask for certain cookies, types of cookies that we do. But we do truffles. I do truffles every year, and I'm actually getting ready to gear up for that. And I give a lot of that away. I actually realized I'm out of boxes to be able to do that. So so we've got the truffles, and then over the past year, okay, try not to have your head explode. You ready? We do chocolate covered bacon.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I buy part of my baking business. I did a lot of I was partially a chocolatier. I actually got a little bit of training from a gal in our town that had a chocolate shop. And so I know how to temper the chocolate, and I think I've said before, I'm kind of a chocolate snob. Because I buy $12, $20 chocolate, because it's kind of like the wine thing. And I guess they're doing it with coffees now too. Wine would probably be the best example. Chocolate has different notes to it, different tastes, depending on what part of the world it comes from and what they put in it. And so I'm very, very particular with my chocolate at Christmas time. Well, I actually am probably all year, but yeah, especially for the truffles and for the bacon, because it has to be a specific type of milk chocolate, and it has to be a specific type of bacon. So for the flavor to be just right. So, I do a lot.
My brain is thinking, just because I've been in my K room before, how does the chocolate not slide off the bacon? And I'm sure that there's a way or something.
There's a whole process.
And I love step-by-step processes that take 10 years to do. So yeah, that's not my gift.
My truffles take 4 to 5 hours to make.
Oh my gosh.
And the
Yeah, I'm
bacon
kind of
is a
dump
good
it in the
hour, an
pan,
hour and a half.
let's see what the oven does and bring it out and serve it and be done. Yeah, it's not my
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Now, I do
And-
have a question because I know you've mentioned
Sure.
this before. When you said $20 chocolate, is that $20?
Pound.
Okay.
Mhm. I have a supplier that I use, that's, actually on the West Coast. And, yeah, that's $20 a pound. I've tried, it took me, when I had my baking business, it took me about a year to a year and a half to get the right, taste for the truffles. Yeah, so I buy between 3 to 6 pounds of chocolate for Christmas. And then depending on how much I can tolerate, because it's a lot of work. The truffles are a
it
lot of
sounds
work.
overwhelming. I think last year you took pictures and you put them in little cupcake, little squiggy things.
I do that, and then I put them in a little bakery box and.
Oh my
give them a
gosh.
rub.
And they're beautiful to look at and I'm sure they taste delicious, but I look at that whole thing, just like when you said 5 hours.
Mhm. Yes,
Yeah, that causes my head to explode.
yes, because there's a lot of, you have to make a certain thing and then you refrigerate it a certain amount of time, and then yeah. And then I've got a machine that tempers my chocolate, and then that has to be done a certain way. So yeah.
And
But
see,
I love it.
let's talk about what you just said. There's too many room for error things going on in there with all those variables. And I would be the one, and again, obviously I don't have a clue how to do this, but however you make the bacon and then you dip the chocolate stuff and it all slides around, I don't think that would be my gift.
Well, and then especially with the well, all of it, then it's gone in 5 minutes. But yeah, but it's traditional. So
your kids ask for cookies, they love your truffles, and they want chocolate covered bacon.
yes,
That is hysterical coming from our favorite naturopath.
yeah. And we do our cookies. We do sugar. We do sugar cookie cutouts. It's a specific recipe I use. Which actually I think is one of my blog posts
Yes.
for December. But yeah, we always have done it. We did that growing up, and I just carried on the tradition. We don't do you'll laugh. We don't do the frosting and then sugar on it because it's just too sweet. So we just put the sugar on it and bake it. So, but
Yeah, and I think that's my thing. If I'm going to do a cookie, then I want the sugar cookie. Is it powdered sugar glaze or some kind of stuff? And then I usually don't do the sprinkle thing, but those little chocolate deals you've got on there, I could maybe handle.
those are good. Yeah.
But that straight sugar stuff is just like a teeth killer. I just don't think that's.
And this is a family tradition too. I basically, of course, make the dough. I roll it out. I let the kids pick the cookie cutters. We cut them out, and then they decorate.
Wow.
And we do that. We'll do that for an afternoon, depending
You've
on
got
how
your
many.
own little assembly line. I love that.
Yes, we do. It's like you say, this is the season. It's a season of joy. It's also a season of tradition, centered around food or whatever. So in our house, it's obviously sweets. And
Yeah,
other things. So
I really do though. And please, everyone watching with us, or certainly on the replay, do put in your traditions that you've done, and maybe a favorite dish that is a good fit for you, because it really is back to that same drill. We love to hear what you are doing for Doc and Queenie in the community and connecting with each other. If you don't know how to do this recipe or that recipe, this is an opportunity to say, please elaborate. Let us hear from you and know how to do something like that, because that's kind of how sharing traditions and things like that get started. So I love that. Doc, I can't believe how fast the time has gone again. But I just looked down. It's time already to say.
I know.
goodbye.
I know. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Yeah, on Doc and Queenie. There we go. Randy.
Yeah.
Facebook Live at high noon. Sorry, out of a little practice. It's been a while. You can check out Queenie at KathyWeaverKC.com or Kathy Weaver KC all over social media, or check out me at KitchenGardenExpert.com, and likewise Kitchen Garden Expert all over social media. And we really appreciate you guys stopping by or kicking out the replay and participating, because we're all about connection, friendship, networking, just taking a little stress off of you to make you smile. Really, we like to make people smile. We get a little nutty, or Queenie gets a little nutty. I'm very,
You're the non-nutty one. Yeah.
I'm the non-nutty one. But no, we really appreciate our faithful friends on purpose and people stopping by and checking it out. And until next time, we do have a Bible trivia on Thursday nights at 7. Or until next time, you can check us out next Monday at high noon. So thank you, everybody. Take care. Have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Doc. I love this. Merry Christmas. Oh my gosh, let's say that every single week.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Bye now.